I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the Low & Sons bond, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. This sling is pretty straightforward. You can see on the outside there's not a ton going on, but what I think it does well is exactly that. So this is made with sheepskin leather. At the time of this video, that's the only option available, but I'm gonna bring it up a little bit closer. You can see it's got you can kind of see the outline of the stuff that I have inside, which I personally don't think looks bad. Usually I don't love when a sling gets lumpy or anything, but I think what is nice about the sheepskin leather is it kind of gives that 90s kind of slouchy purse look or tote bag look that was really popular and is kind of getting more popular again. And I think it does that really well, which you'll see when I put this on as well, but it's going to develop a nice patina over time. So I really do like the aesthetic of this, and I think it does its organization well. So we'll get into that in a second. But on the outside here, we have unbranded zippers, which are very straightforward. The metal zipper pulls were really jingly and jangly for me. So when I wore them, they kind of I'm gonna shake it a little bit. It kind of did that all the time, which I didn't necessarily love, but what I ended up doing is I noticed that, if I had the bag angled on my body like this, for example, and the zipper pulls were up here, they were louder, but then if I put them down here, it was almost like they hung more straight and they hit each other less. So I just kind of repositioned the zippers based off of kind of how I was wearing the bag. But I think if I were to test this longer term and continue using this longer term, which I do think I'm gonna do, I'm probably gonna figure out a way to dampen those just so they're not quite as loud. So that's great. We also have this reverse coil with an AquaGuard style zipper. So it kind of gives it this very sleek, chic look. And then the back of this has some interesting features as well, which we'll get into in a second. But this thing is pretty lightweight. It's only 1.2 pounds, so not the heaviest sling we've tried, but not the lightest either. And you have a decent amount of capacity in here. And then the last thing we have on the outside is this very subtle kind of debossed logo on that sheepskin, which you can barely even see, and then some Low & Sons logoing on the side here, and in addition to the strap, which we will talk about now. The harness system is pretty interesting. So we have 3 buckles. We have one on either side and then one in the middle, and this is actually so that you can remove one of these sides, and in this case I would recommend removing the one without the adjustment, and you would put this in here, and then you can wear this in waist pack mode as well. So I've never actually seen this on a bag before. I think it's an interesting way to give you a little bit of customization, and you can make this smaller without needing to really hardcore adjust this strap every single time. But it is a really easy strap to adjust, so I never really had any issues. I also didn't really wear this in waist pack mode, so for the most part I just kept this as is, honestly. With my frame, you'll see this when I put it on, but this is the most I can adjust this, the tightest I can get it. And this still kind of had a not saggier look, but it just kind of was more casual. So if you like your slings to be tighter, depending on your frame, that might not be possible with this bag. But I did really like the style of it in a general sense. So I think that's good. I think you could probably remove this. Actually, you could probably remove this and then attach it on either side and then lengthen this. So you've got some options, which I like. It's nice to see. These buckles as well are so flat that they lay completely flush against your body, which is nice because then you don't have a big buckle digging into you or anything, and which is nice considering there's 3 of them. This is the bag when it's actually on my body in sling mode. Like I mentioned, this is the tightest that I can get it with both of those straps attached. So it does have kind of a slouchy side bag look, which, like I said, with that material, I kind of like the look of. We can also wear it on your back here, and this is what it looks like. It does pull away a little bit from your back, but I don't really hate the look of that either. But I'll show it with you in the waist pack mode as well. So this is the bag when it's in waist pack mode. You can see it fits pretty flush to my body. Again, this is the tightest strap adjustment possible. If you wanted to give yourself a little bit more space, you definitely could. But I think this has like that kind of traditional fanny pack look to it. Again, paired with that leather, kind of gives it like a 90s vibe. And it's very comfortable on, like it feels balanced and it feels like it's hugging my body nicely. And with the little brain blast that I had earlier live on camera, I decided to leave that extra strap off and make it a little bit longer to convert it from waist pack mode to sling mode. And you can see that it does actually make this tighter fit against my body. So if I wanted this to have a more like kind of traditional sling look that I think is more popular now, this is definitely something that works. This is, I would say it's maybe not quite as long. I think I have a little bit of adjustment left, so it might be able to come out a little more. But if you wanted it to fit tighter to your body, this is definitely an option. But I personally like that slouchier look, so I would probably just keep that on at all times, but you can take it off pretty much whenever. If you're finding this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. But for now, we're gonna take a look at the organization. So on this sling, one thing I forgot to mention about the strap is that it does have this like Low & Sons logo all across the entire strap, but I honestly didn't really even notice it. So for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. I don't feel like it like impacted the aesthetic that much. And I think the logo action around it otherwise is pretty minimal. So didn't really mind that, but worth noting that it is definitely visible to some degree. We also have the back panel. So this is where the other additional organization is. We have a back zippered pocket, which has that reverse coil aquaguard zipper like the front does, but it has a little leather zipper pull on it, which I'm kind of torn on because I think this would have been nice to have on the front because then these wouldn't like jingle jangle against each other as often. However, I do like this kind of sleek metal zipper pull look. So definitely let us know kind of what your preference is in the comments. But I think what's nice about this in the back at least is that you don't have a big zipper pull like kind of pushing up against your body. It's just this little tiny leather one. But this pocket is really good for, this is a passport size notebook in here. This is just a travel journal. So that's also an option. You could put that in there. But it's a fairly large back pocket. I put my phone in here as well, I have an iPhone 14. So just a regular size and that fit in there, but definitely keep it to flatter items just because that's gonna be pushing up against your body and that will keep it comfortable. And what I also like is this back little card pocket. I think this is a unique thing. I don't think I've seen this on any bags either. But what I have here is like a hotel key card, which is basically what I would use this for. So for myself, like it feels secure. Like if I shake this around, bump it, like it's not really going anywhere. So I don't think that if you were to put a card in here, you need to worry too much about it falling out. But for security's sake, like I wouldn't want to put anything too sensitive in here. But what I did do is I have a park pass for some local parks. So when I was having like a park day, I would just stick my park pass in there and it was easily accessible, or like a hotel key card when I needed one of those, I put that in here. And that was nice to have really quick access to it. I also used it as a quick store pocket when I was shopping. So once I went like grocery shopping and I, checked out, got all, paid for my groceries, in order to just kind of keep the line moving, I just stuck my card back in here and then put it back in my wallet once I got home. So kind of a nice quick storage area. And if you don't use it, it just stays out of the way. You don't even really notice that it's there. So heading into the main compartment, it's pretty straightforward. It looks like basically any other sling that you would see, nothing really too crazy. We have two zippers, like I mentioned, because these pulls bang against each other. And so depending on what side you kind of orient them on, you just can open from either direction. But you have pretty good access to the inside. Like I mentioned, with that sort of like slouchier material, it pulls back really easily so that you can get good visibility inside, even when the bag is on you, which I really like, because I felt like I could reach in here really quickly and get what I needed, even though, the stuff's kind of just flopping around in there. What I think also they did really well on the inside here is the organization. So I'm going to start with this back pocket. This opens, has a nice, another different little metal zipper pull, which has like kind of like a grippy spot for the pads of your fingers, which is nice. It's like surprisingly ergonomic for just a zipper on the inside of a bag. But we have this back pocket, which I honestly didn't use that much for like flatter items, just because for the most part, stuff that I keep in my bag is stuff that I want access to relatively quickly. And this back zippered pocket is always clunky to get to in pretty much any sling. But with this back, they also have some interesting organization with these cards. So there's 3 different card slots, but you could definitely double up if you wanted to. Like it's pretty spacious in here. It's just not the most functional thing for me personally. I think when I'm like doing my grocery shopping or something, or just kind of walking around in general, I want quicker access to my cards. And I switch, partially because we test so much gear here, but also just kind of from a day-to-day basis, I swap like kind of where my wallet is so often. And I think if I had to take my cards out of here and put them back in my wallet every time I stopped using the bag, that would get a little bit too annoying for me. So I didn't find it super functional, but I think it has a great function for travel if there's cards that you don't use super often, and you want to maybe cut down your wallet size even a little bit more, or there's stuff that you only need in case of emergency or something like that. That's a good spot for that. So kind of unique organization, similar to this back one. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it, like it's not in the way. And then the rest of this is pretty nice as well. I think one of the things that I like the most about this bag is that the pocket size was like perfect for everything I specifically needed, which is something that doesn't happen very often. I think pockets are usually kind of generically sized, and in one case it kind of is, and in another it's not. So I'm going to take out some of the extra stuff. Like I have my phone in here, I have my wallet, I have some hand lotion, and then I have like a little tube of like a lipstick in there. But this back pocket here is somewhere where you can definitely store a phone, and I did sometimes, but for the most part this is where I kept my keys. So my keys would be on this key leash here. It's a little metal key leash, a little clip, very easy to undo. Very long key leash though, and I liked that. I think it's one of my favorite features of this bag because I didn't have a single door that I couldn't unlock with my keys still attached to the key leash, and that is a very valuable thing. So I didn't have to take this off in order to kind of get in and out of whatever location. And then with my keys, they're a little bit on the chunkier side. I just kind of dumped them in that back pocket, and then they stayed out of the way, and they weren't like scratching anything in this main compartment area. But if I did have them out of here, I could just, put my like phone back there, and that's a good spot for that. But otherwise, like it's not the tightest like up against that back panel, so it could get theoretically in the way, but I didn't have any issues. I do like this organization along the front panel though, and this is what I was talking about where it feels very specific to my needs. Like I have this tinier pocket over here that fit my AirPods like perfectly, and they were very easy to get in and out. I have this side over here which fits a pack of gum perfectly, and that was easy to get in and out. And then this middle one was honestly like my favorite of the entire bag, and it's the perfect size for chapstick. And like chapstick is something that I always have on me. It's always floating around in my bag. I'm always searching for it, and it was so nice to just have it in here, and it wasn't too tight for me to just quickly get it out and apply and put back in. It is also a good size for like a tube of lipstick, so you can see that that fits in. It's a little bit more snug, but it still fits in nicely and comes out easily. So I think what this bag does well is that very subtle internal organization that fits small gear pretty easily, and there's still enough space left for larger items like a phone and a wallet. So there you have it, the Low & Sons Bond. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.